Show. It is our first New Year, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
Hello, did that just go away? I think I just went away. Did I come back?
I am the mic.
No, I am. I swear to God, I stay on the mic all the time. Am I back? No, I'm gone. I'm not.
Yeah, it is fading in and out on you right now.
What? Oh, is it this cord again?
We might have to switch you out on cords.
Yeah, let me just put it down. Hello. Do we have me? Hello.
Looks good now, yeah.
Welcome 2015.
Keep that up.
All right, I'll just. That's what she said. I will just leave that. I'll just leave that right where it is. I'm not gonna. I usually like to hold on to the mic like a cheesy nightclub singer, or comedian, but I'm gonna leave it in the mic stand because I think we got a touchy cord. That's no way to start the new year. It is the Jeff Dubay Show.
You're used to having a touchy cord, aren't you?
Here we go again. The puns are just flying left and right. Welcome to the new year of the Jeff Dubay Show. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We are at Devil's Advocate, coming off a big week of football, both bowl games and National Football League playoffs. So lots to talk about. Patrick Discher, who was here last week, steps into the breach. Terry Daniel was the scheduled guest tonight, but we rescheduled him for next week. He's got a lot of stuff going on.
That's the intro for the guest.
For Patrick, of course, they love you here.
They love me. They love me. Calm down, fans.
Yeah, they do. They love you. Hey, Tony, why do the Gophers suck? The Gophers suck. They're brutal. That's Tony. He's the bartender. He loves college basketball. Get out of here, Tony. But the Gophers 0-2 in Big Ten play. The Purdue game was a disaster. The Maryland game was predictable, but nonetheless, it all adds up to 0-2. Doesn't mean the season's over, but they're definitely starting out behind the eight ball. Patrick Discher, as I mentioned, has come in to be the guest. Terry Daniel's going to be with us next week. Tomorrow, I believe. It's going to be it's a very special Blossom. It's a very special episode of the Jeff Dubay Show tomorrow. I get my first period. No, it is Brady Forsyth from the Starkey. It's the Starkey Foundation, right? The people they go to Africa, they go to Asia, they hook people up with hearing aids. I mean, there's people like hear.
That sounds charitable. I wouldn't know anything.
They hear like their own voice for the first time. It gets very emotional.
Oh wow, that actually would be.
Yeah, he just got their mother's voice or their son's voice, whatever. And he just got back from Africa on a Starkey mission. So we're gonna get some heartwarming stories to start the new year. But before that, we're gonna sit around and bitch about football. And I mean bit. No, I'm just kidding. Let's start with our Gopher squad because they went. They played New Year's Day. We get it. Blah blah blah. We're all happy about it. First time in 50 years, and I was happy about it too. The Citrus Bowl it's a good bowl game. It's not the Rose Bowl. I mean, and of course, the meaning of playing on New Year's Day has changed a little over the years. I mean, it used to be you had to be in the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Orange Bowl. Then the Fiesta Bowl came along, and the Citrus Bowl, and the Outback Bowl, Capital One, Gator, blah blah blah. So anyway, I'm not sure if the Gator Bowl exists anymore. It might have a new name. But
yeah, they've all the old traditional bowls have changed names, haven't they?
Well,
most of them, except for the Rose Bowl.
Well, I mean the Cotton Bowl. The really really traditional ones like the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl. I mean they've kept the same names. They've added sponsors. Sponsors have come. Sponsors have gone. But let's just face it. Playing New Year's Day, as cool as it was, it doesn't mean what it once did. I mean, the Gophers were, for all intents and purposes, the fourth place team in the Big Ten, fourth or fifth.
Yeah,
you used to have to be a little better than that to make a New Year's Day bowl. But nonetheless, it was cool.
How many New Year's Day bowls were there?
Oh, this year?
That's kind of a way of
there were three right away.
Right?
There were three right away in the morning, and then there were the two big playoff games. So I'm gonna say there were 5 this year.
At least 5.
At least 5 that I can think of off the top of my head. Because we had 3 in the morning. We had our game, the Michigan State game against Baylor. We had the Wisconsin Auburn. Those 3 were all kind of going on together.
You didn't have anything between that and the big ones, right?
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure.
No, there's 2 more.
Well, yeah,
2 more before the big one.
There were?
There's 2 more bowl games before the big
one.
one.
No. There's 2 more coming up this week. We're talking about how many were on the first.
Just on the first.
Because nothing was going up against the 2 playoff games. So I'm pretty sure there were only 5 on New Year's Day.
Okay.
The 3 preliminaries and then the two semifinals. And then, now it's set up where there are numerous bowl games after the first. I mean, like this week is littered with games like leading up to the national championship game.
A bunch of 6-6 teams.
Well,
and
but
whatnot.
some of these games actually have some reasonable squads in them. That have done. I don't know. They're not all complete scrub games, but yeah, a lot of them are scrub games. But to the Gopher game, I mean, I was impressed how they came out. I thought they were a deserved underdog against Missouri. I mean, I believe we were getting 4.5, and I didn't think the Gophers were going to win this game. I mean, Missouri's a team that's been to back-to-back SEC championship games. By the way, Big Ten owned the SEC in conference had conference matchups in bowl games, other than our game. So I stood a bit corrected.
But you will admit though, this game was a winnable game for our squad.
It was, and the way they came out, I mean, we were dominant. It reminded me a lot of the Wisconsin game. Where we were the better team for the first half and just didn't do enough to take control of it. And you could see little by little it was slipping away, and the better team was starting to take control of it. And the problem remains on the offensive side of the football. You can say what you want about Kill staff and their loyalty and how they've been around and how they stick with them and blah, blah, blah. But Tracy Claeys is miles ahead of Matt Limegrover. I mean, the defense is so much better than the offense, and then they show so much more than the offense. This defense came out swarming and playing great. But the problem is the offense didn't do nearly enough to take advantage of it.
Although Leitner looked good.
Well, yeah, he did, but there's always something. There's always. Yeah. I mean, it's like if Cobb is going off, then we're throwing it 2 for 10. But if we could throw it, then Cobb is being held to 70 or 80. Just the offense never seems to completely come together. I mean, they have their moments. They're not completely inept, but they. I mean, to have 7 points at the half of this game was a disgrace. And when your defense plays as well as they did in that first half, you've got to do more with it. I mean, we had a quarter and a half to build a lead, and we didn't do it. And eventually, you look at what 33 we gave up. We lose 33-17. You say 33, well, your defense wasn't that good. Well, bullshit, because they got an onside kick, they got a fake punt.
Yep.
They wound up on a short field because you turned the ball over, you fumbled the ball, you gave them field position, you didn't control the ball on offense. The defense played a winning game. The offense played a losing game, and that's getting a little old. That's a formula that's getting a little old, whether it's bowl game or regular season for Jerry Kill squads.
And we had a chance to take a lead at the end of that first half, and I just don't understand why we just sat on the ball there with 40 seconds to play.
Even Leitner didn't know why either. You can tell he's going, why did we just throw it and now we're going to walk off the field?
Well, that's the thing. Jerry Kill, I like him. I mean, I like him a lot. He's the right guy for this job, and I'm glad he's here. I think we're lucky to have him. He got out-coached in this game. I mean, when you get to a bowl game, if it's not one of the national semifinals, if you're not playing to advance, then you play balls to the wall.
Yeah.
You don't go in conservative. What are you protecting? What are you saving? You're not going to play next week no matter what. You haven't won a bowl game in your carear. The school's had a bowl game victory drought for 10 years. Just don't be such a goddamn pussy. I mean, and he was. You had one coach on one sideline, fake punt, onside kick, and you got another coach who, with plenty of time on the clock, is afraid to try to score, even though he's got the ball and his quarterback has had a
Did you see his comments at halftime?
Yeah, he says, we get the ball, start the second half. So
and he had that big grin on his face.
And I'm
so
kidding.
Proud of himself.
When I saw that, and then I saw the onside kick, I thought to myself, I wonder if somebody in the Missouri coaching box or something just said, this guy's so smug, he's getting the ball, start the second half, let's fuck with him. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Not give it to
I'm
him,
not kidding. I mean, the element of surprise, I mean, they were caught so off guard by it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if somebody up in the Missouri coaching box saw that little interview and thought, this is the last thing in the world. He sees coming.
Yep.
He's ready to have the ball.
No, they spent 15 minutes at halftime thinking about what they were going to do once they got the ball, not even questioning the fact that they might not.
Maybe they had this in the works, all week. I don't know. Maybe they didn't even see the little Jerry Kill comment. But I have a feeling.
Either way, outcoached though, right?
Yes, either way, outcoached. But I really do have a feeling that somebody, either down in the Missouri locker room or up in a coach's booth, saw the interview and said, boy, this guy didn't see this coming. I mean, he's already that first possession of the second half. He doesn't see this coming. We're going to onside kick him.
Well, and he just blames the kids, too, in the post-game interview. I heard, he's like, hey, the guy kicked it. There's nothing we could do. People were in the right spot. They got it. I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. Just blaming the kids.
You're right here, Patrick?
Yeah, I'll take another one. But he spent the whole week, too, pimping his own horn, talking about how he's got this program where it's never been before. And I don't understand what the difference is between the Sun Bowl and the Citrus Bowl.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, there's not much. I mean, the Sun Bowl gets a pretty good level of competition usually. And I just, that's why I said, I mean, it was cool to be playing on January 1st. And I liked it, too. And the Citrus Bowl is a coveted bowl game. But it really isn't, any step up from.
It's a second-tier bowl game.
Yeah, it's not a step up from playing in the Sun Bowl. I mean, and we've been to the Sun Bowl, and the Sun Bowl is.
Well, but doesn't just being on New Year's Day do it? Isn't that the step up?
Well, only for people who don't follow football. I think it's all encompassing to be on January 1st.
Sure.
I mean, if you want to look down the list of the teams that play in the Sun Bowl year after year after year, look at the teams that play in the Citrus Bowl year after year. It's very comparable.
Okay.
I mean, it is a little bit of a step up, maybe a half a step up, but not a huge step up. I mean, when the Gophers went to the Sun Bowl and beat Oregon, I believe the Gophers were 9-3, maybe 8-4. So I mean, it's a very, very. I mean, so is this 8-4 team? Is this? I mean, this year's team went 8-4 now with the bowl loss 8-5. I wouldn't put them ahead of that Mason team.
With a stronger Big Ten too.
Yeah.
Your grandfather's Big Ten.
It's a little bit of a false accomplishment, to be honest with you. I mean, people get a little wrapped up in the date of a bowl game, and it's just. It was nice. I enjoyed it. We all like getting up on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day and having a chance to watch our Gophers, but it doesn't mean that they've gone to a level that they have not gone to in the last 40 years. That would just be not true to say. It's absolutely, or the last 50 years, whatever.
Well, but in their defense, a little bit, you just said they're in a second-tier bowl game. For the Gophers, isn't that a step up? I mean, they're not in the Rose Bowl. They're not in
again,
the one of the big bowls, but they're usually the third tier.
It's so easy for people to sit here and say, well, this first time you went in a bowl game for 52 years, this is the best team you've had, best season you've had, best accomplishment you've had in 50 years, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because again, Mason's team that went and beat Oregon was a better team with a better record that beat a better opponent. I mean, it is what it is. But it was a different bowl game that wasn't on January 1st. So people are going to sit here and come up with what was the highest your team rose to in the last 50 years. Like, their quick answer is going to be, well, it's here. We played January 1st. Well, no, it's not. This is at best. Now I'm not going to say for sure, but it is at best the second best team you've had and the second most accomplished team you've had in the last 52 years or whatever. I mean, it was Mason's squad that went 2-1 and won the Sun Bowl. And it's not even close. To be honest with you, it's not even debatable. So we enjoyed it, but let's not get carried away with it. You're an 8-4 team that went to a bowl game and played scared and had an opportunity. And one team was willing to reach out and grab it by the balls, and the other team cowered and hoped it came their way. And we cowered and hoped it came our way, and we fucking lost because of it. And it pisses me off a little bit.
Pisses me off, too. I don't know, just watching that game, we dominated the line of scrimmage in most of our games. In that game, it seemed like in the second half we got pushed around a little bit.
Well, I think they got a little discouraged. I mean, the defense was playing a winning game, and the offense wasn't doing anything to support it. And I think after a while it takes its toll.
Well, 5 fumbles, too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It really is.
When you had big drops, too.
Yeah,
they
had a million mistakes.
And those are the things that kill momentum. That was the other things. They kept shooting themselves in the foot.
They had some good plays, too. That play to Max Williams was pretty sweet. It's sad to see him go.
Yep. Well, he's doing the right thing, to be honest with you.
Do you think he gets drafted almost because of that play? I mean, he had that other huge play earlier in the season, but that one was all over the place on ESPN. That had to do good for his draft stock.
Think of him in New England alongside Gronk.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
He's going to go in the second round. And he's going to go in the second round. It's the right time for him to go. The touchdown was just a beautiful highlight reel play, though. I mean, you're talking about Max Williams still.
The double hurdle.
Yeah, it was very impressive. I mean, he's somebody's going to go probably in the second round, maybe late first round. But to me, anybody who has any problem with this, you go to college to get a career. I mean, you go to college to prepare yourself to have the career of your choice, and his is football, and he's ready for it, and he's never been into it. He's not going to be in a better position to make that.
And he has smart people advising him. His father was in the NFL. He's not out there just going to go get drafted in the 7th round and not make it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, and you jump in the NFL, and then you go back to school afterward if you want to. Missing that last year does not change his future at all.
No,
his life is going to be just fine.
Well, and then coming back could have done just the opposite. I mean, an injury.
Yes, absolutely true.
And not to mention, next year's draft could be deep at tight ends. I mean, it's just there's a lot of reasons for him to do what he did. But I mean, having said that, this team should be pretty good next year, and it is going in the right direction. And I do like Jerry Kill. Here's the thing that I always feel like you need a disclaimer when you're talking about Jerry Kill or this team. I mean, it's okay to be critical and still believe in what he's doing, and it's going in the right direction. I mean, everybody seems to want to drink the Kool-Aid at every step with everything he says, everything he does. This was a bad loss. This was a game that was coached extremely poorly. This was a nice opportunity for a program to take a step, and really your coach got in the way because he was scared. He coached a cowardly game, and he wasn't aggressive when he needed to be aggressive. And he sends a message to his team, that we're going to this game to not fuck up. We're not going to this game to grab it by the balls. We're going to go there and just try to not screw it up, and that's a horseshit message to send to your team. And I do believe the loss in many ways is on him, although Missouri is a better team at this stage and really should have won the game. But having said all that, this team, there was a nice year. I mean, they went 5-3 in the Big Ten, which, by the way, Glenn Mason did more than once. But 5-3 in the Big Ten, I believe he did more than once. 5-3 in the Big Ten, 8-4 record. It's going in the right direction. And next year, you have a lot coming back. I mean, you lose a lot of stuff up the middle. I mean, you lose a nose tackle, a middle linebacker, you lose a safety, but you got 2 all Big Ten corners that come back. You got most of your line and linebackers come back, and you've got some redshirt freshmen that really looked at the part, that are going to step in and really give them something next year. I still don't have a lot of faith in the quarterback. I think he's mediocre. I don't have a lot of faith in the offensive coordinator.
Look better in this bowl game than he had most of the season?
I'm going to contradict myself right away because I think he's been ripped too much this year. I think Mitch Leidner's had a better year than people want to give him credit for.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think he's the problem with the offense. But I'll tell you, Matt Limegrover's got to start to do something. I mean, this offense has been generally mediocre. I mean, they put up big run numbers, but they have not shown much balance, and they haven't shown the ability to be dynamic. They don't put up big numbers. They tax a defense with far too many turnovers and too many 3-and-outs. I just think that Lime Grover the staff has been here long enough that it's time to expect more from the offense than you've gotten from it. And the pressure's got to go to Lime Grover next year because Tracy Claeys is years ahead of him in how he's developed that defense as opposed to how Lime Grover's developed an offense.
Is it easier to draft defensive players here, though, than it is to draft offensive players? Recruit,
no.
sorry. No,
I don't think so at all, to
be
honest with you, because defense, you really need to get some athletes. I mean, you got to have guys who can run. In this state, traditionally, what do you have? A wealth of offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get offensive
big
linemen.
Boys.
Yeah.
Yep, you are correct, and we can find those, and we can get those. It is tricky, maybe sometimes to find the right quarterback for your system, or maybe some skilled guys to play receiver. I think Jeff Jones could be a big-time running back if he gets the opportunity. The kid from Washburn, he's a redshirt this year. Or, I don't know if he's a redshirt if he just had to sit out because his academics weren't in order, but he's eligible for spring practice, so he should be good to go next year. He's a 4-star recruit. I believe he's like the highest ranked recruit that Jerry Kill has ever landed. At any stop he's had, including here in Minnesota. I'm hoping he can step in for Cobb. It might be running back by committee, at least for a little while. But I think Jeff Jones is somebody who they're looking at as a featured guy who could be a star. But it's just generally speaking, the offense lags behind. It's just it's a mediocre passing attack. You don't scare anybody with the guys you put on the field at receiver. I mean, you had a big-time tight end who, by the way, was really underutilized this year. I mean, you didn't go to him nearly enough, especially in big games and clutch situations. He had the big play. What do you have he had a good game. He had like 8 catches for 95 yards or something in the Citrus Bowl, but it still was kind of quiet. I mean, to me, I wear the guy out. I just go to him over and over and over.
Well, it's kind of like his whole year. They didn't go to him enough. I feel like sometimes they had the Christian Ponder syndrome. Run on first down, run on second, and then expect the quarterback to pass on third and long. Mm-hmm. It's not always the recipe for success.
Yeah, and I agree. But that's I don't want to dwell too long on just on the Gopher game and what we saw. We also had. I'm gonna say a pretty damn interesting night, late afternoon, early evening into the night doubleheader of
NFL.
No. What do you call it? The playoff.
Semifinal.
Oh yeah.
The college
playoff. Yeah.
Yeah, the college football playoff. And I tell you what, I thought that maybe Florida State was being a little overlooked. I really did. They went undefeated. I mean, they're a defending national champ, and they went undefeated.
Barely.
I know. And I get the reason why they were the only undefeated team, yet they were the 4th seed and barely got into the playoff. I mean, I saw all this. Or they're actually the 3rd seed. They were the 3rd seed, but they were the 4th-ranked team for a while, even though they were the only ranked unbeaten team. They got past a Clemson team that should have beaten them. They got past a Notre Dame team that most people say flat out did beat them. They had a lot of lucky breaks along the way, but I always just thought to myself, this isn't necessarily a sign that they're not good. It's just a sign that they got a little championship hangover. I mean, that happens to teams. That they're not balls to the wall from the first step to the last, just because they've been there. They've done that. They think maybe we're a little bit above this. We're going to kick it into high gear when we want to. And I thought maybe they would, because Jameis Winston I do think is the real deal. I also think Jameis Winston is an idiot, and he's immature, and he's kind of a punk. And I'm really disappointed to see him go the way he's gone. Both of being an idiot off the field and getting himself in a little bit of trouble. I mean, he's not out there, killing people. He's not Aaron Hernandez, but I mean, he's out there being an asshole. He's being an idiot. He's pushing the limits to see just how much I can get away with because I'm Jameis Winston, both with my mouth and with my actions. I've lost a lot of faith, a lot of respect in that kid. There's no doubt about that. But I still thought that they might be able to find the switch and flip it. And they got done. They got done sideways. I mean, they got run out of the place by the Oregon Ducks. And to be honest with you, it didn't hurt me to see. I mean, I hate Oregon, and with all due respect to our friend Ted Schwetzler, who's a diehard Oregon fan, or Schwetzler, whatever. I'm sorry, Ted. Ted, I'm so bad with your last name. I'm sorry, but Oregon's ruining college football with their uniform.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have a new uniform every game. You can't have a new helmet every game. You got to have a uniform and just wear it. A dark for home and a light for the road, and just wear it. It is what it is. You can have maybe a couple different colors of pants and wear different combinations, like what the Gophers do. I got no problem with. But you can't have a uniquely designed uniform for every game, a different helmet for every game.
Kids love it.
I know they do.
Kids
it's a giant
love it.
recruiting tool, but it is ruining. I'm not kidding you. If the Gophers went to this, where they had a different uniform for every game and they had silver helmets, I really wouldn't be much of a fan anymore. It would be hard for me to watch.
When does Oregon go to switching at halftime?
Oh, I know, seriously.
I mean, I'm not kidding. I could see them doing that. Maybe it was somehow illegal in the rules.
Yeah, I'm sure that it
and
probably is.
And the Gophers have done that, too, with those white helmets, whatever those were.
Yeah, those were ugly.
Oh, my God.
I mean, just don't sell your soul. I mean, they sell their soul to Nike. So Phil Knight can use them as to play dress up. They're basically.
It's worked out for him.
Yeah, pretty well.
It's worked out for both, but I mean, but you still sell your soul. You're the Oregon Ducks. You're green and gold. You have been forever. You're not silver. All right. I mean, you got to have an identity. I mean, when you say Notre Dame, what do you think? You think what's the first that pops in your head?
Gold helmet.
Gold helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to use Penn State, but now a new thing might pop into your head when I say Penn State.
That's true.
But for 50 years, if I say Penn State, what pops in your head? Just a generic white helmet with a blue stripe and a generic blue jersey, white pants.
Ohio State.
You start to identify. Yeah, when you see Michigan, you think of the goofy helmet design. But the bottom line is there's an identity there, and there's a trademark there. There's a branding that you spend decades, not years, but decades building up. That people will not only identify your program or your team with, but identify your school with. Mm-hmm. And you are whoring yourself out by ruining it. I mean, when I say Oregon now, what do you think? I think whore. I think on your back, legs up in the air for Phil Knight. Fuck. That's what I think. Squeal for me, Oregon. Squeal for me. Seriously.
Well, I just think ugly.
Yeah, but you guys think, what do you think of that little action?
That was some action. I think the girls in the background are looking for phone numbers
here.
Little
hip thrust I just get. But seriously, just roll over, Oregon. Let's do doggy style now. I mean, squeal like a piggy for me, Oregon. You're not. Who are you anymore? I don't know who you are. You're somebody different every game, and I can't stand it.
You saw you sold a Nike.
So it's not going to be hard for you to root for Ohio State?
Oh, I'm so rooting for Ohio State. And
do you still think they're going to win too? Like you still think they're the best team, or
Oregon should win, but that's not.
No, you thought Ohio State was the best team going into the tournament here.
Yeah, when Ohio State got put in the playoff, I couldn't believe people were bitching about it. I mean, I said, really? You don't think the best team in college football belongs in the playoff? I mean, how nobody? If anybody's followed college football for the last 2 months, nobody's as good as Ohio State. I mean, nobody. I mean, Oregon came out hard at the end of the year, and they smoked Arizona in that Pac-10 or Pac-12 championship game that everybody thought was a dangerous game for them because Arizona's kind of owned them. So when they smoked Arizona, that sent a nice little statement that Oregon was peaking, and then to follow it up with what they did to Florida State. I mean, you could argue Oregon is every bit as hot.
Well, they've won 9 in a row, and Ohio's won 12 in a row or something. I mean, they're the 2 hottest teams in college football.
Yeah, they both lost early. And you could sit here and argue that Oregon is every bit as on right now as Ohio State. But, I mean, to just poo-poo Ohio State the way people did, it's like, have you watched college football for the last 2 months? Because nobody's been better. I mean, nobody's dismissed opponents or dispatched opponents with relative ease of Ohio State. At the time, you're thinking J.T. Barrett, I mean, a guy who came out of nowhere and totally fucked up the Virginia Tech game because he wasn't ready yet. But he, by the time, they had gotten to the last, couple weeks of the season, he was a Heisman, kind of a candidate. I mean, they're talking about him in that regard. And we saw him here at TCF Bank Stadium running through and around your secondary. It was like Michael Vick against the Vikings. Mm-hmm. Like, the long touchdown run to beat us in overtime years ago, where a quarterback is more athletic than anybody you have on your defense, and you're in trouble. And that's what J.T. Barrett did when he came here. But he goes down, and I can't even think of the next guy's name in line. He steps in, and this team was behind Alabama 21-6. If that's not fold up the tents, I mean, seriously. Yeah. I mean, I thought, well, there we go, Big Ten again. But they went down into the deep South, into the heart of redneck country, right into New Orleans, and beat Alabama. I mean, with no controversy, no complaints. I mean, there's nothing that can be said other than the fact Ohio State just stood there and beat them.
And out-physicaled them, too.
It's awesome. It was awesome to see.
One thing you always say, too, is that the SEC has all the speeds down in the South.
They do.
But in that game, to me, it looked like Ohio State was the faster team. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
You know what? Urban Meyer's bringing the South to the North.
Yeah, that is true.
He is.
That is true.
And I had some doubt to the extent to which I thought he'd be able to do that, just because, Southern kids like to stay in the South. I mean, it is what it is. They stay close to home. They get to play in the conference that they grew up watching. That's why Texas A&M has gotten so good. Texas kids now can stay in Texas and play in the Southeast Conference, which they never got to do before. I mean, so the reasons why Texas A&M and Alabama and LSU, I mean, there's reasons why they are as good as they are with the talent that's down there. But Urban Meyer obviously has recruiting inroads. I mean, he won national titles twice at the University of Florida. So he's got deep South recruiting inroads, and he's bringing the South to the North. And I'm not sure. I mean, it's like folks who think that Jim Harbaugh is going to just snap his fingers and Michigan's going to be right there with Ohio State. It's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. I mean, Harbaugh's got recruiting inroads, but I'm not sure that he's got him to the deep South. I mean, he's got some out west. And then certainly he'll have him in the Midwest. I'm not sure he'll be able to get the athletes that's going to take to compete with Ohio State.
But he can sell them on the NFL. He knows what it takes to get to and play in the NFL.
He'll do well. I mean, Harbaugh's a phenomenal coach, and I like him a lot more than most. Most people just think of him as an arrogant ass, and they're fed up.
I love him.
I love him too. I think he's hilarious, and I have no problem with him getting snipey with stupid comments or bad media or whatever. I mean, he'll tell you what he feels, and I like that. and I think he's a fantastic coach. I don't know that he'll be at Michigan for 20 years. I think he's got a touch of the wanderlust to him, and I also think he wears out welcomes really, really quickly as well. So I don't know that he's going to be this 20-year Bo Schembechler type at Michigan, and I don't think he's going to snap his fingers and have success at Michigan. But I do think that he'll certainly be a significant upgrade from where they were. Hey, we should probably get a break in here.
Yeah,
We're getting near the bottom. Get the break in. We'll come back and maybe promote some of the things going on the Alive and Social Network.
Hi, I'm Terry Daniel, and I've been a voice actor in Minneapolis for over 2 decades now. How often are you getting compliments on your voice? Now is the time to do something about it. If you're interested in getting into voiceovers, please contact me via my website at universalvoicetalent.com.
You know, folks who've listened to the show, they know that I lived in the Uptown area here, right down Pleasant Avenue, as a matter of fact, and on the corner of Pleasant Lake is where Uptown Pawn is. And I have been here numerous times, had numerous business dealings with them. It's just a nice place with good, honest people. Bob Jacobson, the owner, you run the place. You've always been good to me.
Thanks, Jeff. We try. That's part of our business. We're here to help people, and so everybody walks in the door. We hope we can help.
Well, what I've always appreciated is when people are nice to people who are the low man on the totem pole. Like when I was a bat boy, I liked the star guys who were nice to the bat boy. Right. And I mean, I came in here and you guys didn't know who I was. You didn't know I had a radio show, and you treated me great. I mean, just a guy up the street.
Listen, that's the idea with I think a smaller family type business. Somebody walks in the door. We don't want to let them see everybody gets treated the same way, and we hope that's the case. And we don't want to see them leave without. We try our very best.
It's really easy. It's easy. It's low pressure. Good, honest people. Right on the corner of Lake Street and Pleasant Avenue. You guys got to check out Uptown Pawn. We're back. Just finished up typing a little something. I'm a bad typer. I can't type it.
I love the single digit typing.
Yeah, I'm watching him hunt and peck over here. Like
I'm about to freak out from anxiety.
There we go. I hate self-help bullshit. I can't stand touchy-feely, stupid little Facebook self-help bullshit. It drives me nuts. It strikes such a nerve with me.
I've blocked
like
multiple
the
people.
dime store philosophers,
yes,
you know, and
or just the inspirational
and
quotes.
The bullshit little articles about the 10 things to make your life better. Fuck you. I mean, fuck you. I know my life better than some goddamn generic self-help author who's just putting out just spiel, just garbage, just throwing out regurgitated bullshit.
Well, and people on
Facebook
Facebook,
things are gonna change my life. Fuck you.
They're putting it out there for themselves anyway. Like they saw it and it hit them. But just stop at that point. It's cool. Leave it right there. You don't need to share it with me. I don't care.
And then let me just be clear that my angst is not directed towards anybody who sent me something like that, because your heart's in the right place. My angst is directed at these schmaltzy, schmoozy writers
wrote them in the first place.
who think they're going to change people. As a matter of fact, they don't think they're going to change somebody's life. They're hoping to fool you into thinking that they can change somebody's life. And they want
to make a bunch of money off of that.
And that's why I didn't get along so well in AA either. I think AA is a lot of self-help crap too. But anyway, I digress. There's another little Facebook thing that's been pissing me off. It's been pissing me off for over a year, and I finally just decided to take a hard line on it. And it has to do with two things. These invitations to play goddamn childish games, and the fact that people out there who are responsible for this don't think they're responsible for this. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm sick of having to look at my phone 20 times a day because some asshole wants me to play Candy Crush Saga. First of all, grow the fuck up and get a life. Stop playing childish games when you're 55 years old. Secondly, don't give me this spiel on Facebook. Oh, there's the app does that. It's not my fault. When you register for this app, when you play this game, you give Facebook permissions, all right? And by giving Facebook permissions, you subject us to all your bullshit. So it is 100% your fault. And when the people who say, "Oh, just calm down and go ahead and block them out." No, I'm not bragging because it's something I do for my show, but I have over 2,000 friends. I'm not going to go through 2,000 fucking people and just you have to do a setting for each one of them. As far as that's the only thing I've ever been able to figure out.
There might be a way to block the app, but I don't think so.
Okay, but then you got to go through and block. So then I have to go through and block every potential game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fucking games.
That's true,
so I either have to go through to every one of my friends and tell them not to block or set it so they can't send me game invitations, or I got to go to every goddamn game and block every goddamn game from sending me an invitation. And here's the other point. It shouldn't be on me for you not to be a fucking annoying asshole. It should be on you. It's not my responsibility that you just bug the shit out of me and you got to stop doing it. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love having people as Facebook friends. I love having people who support the show. I love having people who want to listen to the show and want to know what I'm up to or whatever. But I'm in a zero tolerance phase on this. I know you're all like, oh, anything but that, don't block me. Fine, I don't care. I don't care if you don't care about not being blocked. All I know is you send me a single fucking game invitation and you are blocked. There's no debating. It's just as simple as I don't want to ever get another game invitation from you. So the best way to do it is to block you. And I don't care if you don't think it's your fault. I don't care if it isn't your fault. I just don't want to get the game invitation ever again. So that's how I'm dealing with it. And again, this bullshit idea that you are somehow this innocent pawn in this game of invitations being sent. No, you're not, because when you play it, when you download it, when you go to the app, when you use it, you give Facebook permission to make you an asshole, and you've become an asshole. And it's just, and then now you're making me an asshole.
I think 4 out of my last 10 Facebook notifications were stupid fucking game requests.
Here's the other thing.
Buddies, casinos.
Well, here's the other thing. Grow the fuck up.
Crush.
Yeah. The people I'm getting these games from, they're from like 40 and 50-year-olds, and they're goddamn Candy Crush Saga, a game that's made for a fucking 8-year-old. Grow the fuck up, all right?
They get really into
seriously,
it.
Just stop it. And if you want to go ahead and unfriend me, go ahead and fucking unfriend me. I don't care, because it's pathetic, it's immature, and it's annoying, and I'm done. And then I haven't had some asshole say, oh, you use Facebook.
I saw that.
Well, the thing is, the people who I'm sending that to are people who requested me as friends. All right, they're people who basically, by requesting me as friends, are trying to subscribe to me and to what I'm doing. I didn't go out and hound these people. They came to me. So it is not even close to the same thing. But anyway, I've gotten to the point where I'm really becoming anti-person. I mean, I'm losing my faith in the human race. I think people are fucking stupid. I think people are fucking annoying. And if I could lead a people-free existence, I think I would try to do it. I mean, I'm
so glad. I love to hear this negativity.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm becoming so anti. Well, for one thing, I have no faith in the human race.
They're idiots. Comes from upbringing. Parents probably idiots too.
I always love that one. But I mean, in all honesty, most people don't have just a sense of reason or logic. They can't follow an argument like along a linear plane. They can't just sit here and say, people get off on these weird tangents and make bizarre points that have nothing to do with the debate that is at hand or the point that is at hand. And I can't take it. I have no patience for it. Yeah, I'm basically saying I'm smarter than everybody, and I can't put up with everybody else's stupidity. But I mean, people are stupid. And I can't take it.
Not all of us can have 142 IQ or whatever you brag about all the time.
It's 152, asshole.
No, 142 after the second one.
Yeah, exactly.
So we go with the first one.
Okay, now let's get this straight, asshole. The first one's 144. When I retook the test, it was 152. And I feel like I cheated a little bit by taking it twice. But either way. Nonetheless, I digress. Just stop sending me game requests, game invitations.
Seriously.
I mean, I don't. I know it doesn't mean that much to you to be my friend on Facebook, and it doesn't mean that much to me to have you as my friend on Facebook. So we're not going to, neither of us will lose any sleep if I block you. I'm just making it perfectly clear that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to block you because I don't ever want to get another game request from your invitation.
Just because we're on the Facebook topic, and I'm 99% sure you have Messenger, right, on your phone?
Yes, and I hate it.
Have you guys heard the nightmare of that they basically have access to everything in your phone?
No.
I've heard they're saying that.
Speaking of signing off on permissions.
It's a horrible app. I've gotten rid of it more than once.
They have access to everything. And I have noticed.
I hate Facebook.
I've noticed that I swear I've talked to chicks on Tinder, and then they pop up in the people you may know on Facebook. No common friends, no nothing. So it has access to everything I'm doing.
That is crazy.
It's scary.
That is scary. I mean, and I can't tell you how many apps. Like if I'm going to download an app or something, or if I want to go to an app and it says sign in with Facebook. Like Netflix or something. Says and then basically they tell you what they're going to have access to. But they're going to dig into everything you've ever watched and into your friends.
Email
and then send stuff to people you know and have access to your fucking email. It's like, no, God, are you fucking kidding me? People, I mean, the problem is people say yes to this shit because they want to get in there and play the fucking game so bad. And then by doing that, people like me got to get your goddamn game invitations because you want to play the game so bad that you let a stupid little app get into every little corner and nook and cranny of your life. So
Nobody
you can
reads
play
the fine
a fucking game. What is wrong with you people? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and the real
I have no faith in people.
Yeah, the take-home message here is why are you playing those games? Candy Crush.
Right. You don't have anything better to do?
Yeah.
There's so many good TV shows on Netflix.
Oh my
God. Come on, there's something better.
There's
Podcasts, some
Read a
shows,
book,
do something.
listen to a podcast.
Live and social, there's plenty of stuff out there.
There you go. Speaking of which, weren't you going to plug a little bit?
Well, just thankfully there are enough people in this room to reaffirm my faith in humankind because it's been going downhill fast. I mean, it's just I've lost my faith in humankind to a great extent. But anyway, back to the Live and Social Network.
On that positive note.
Oh my God. But in all honesty, I mean, this thing started 3 months ago with me and Sean Bernard and Scott O'Malley, and just me coming here and talking into a microphone for 60 minutes. I mean, McGovern wasn't even here yet. So,
nope.
it was a complete train wreck. But from that point, we have, what do we have, like 10 shows now? 8,
I was
9,
just
10
about to pull them up again.
It's
it changes every week. You never know.
I can't keep up with it. I tell you what, the ones that I'm most familiar with.
Looks like 8.
Suhan Unfiltered, which is fantastic. As a matter of fact, sometime this week he's got Terry Ryan live at the local.
Yes, I believe. I want to say Wednesday.
How cool is that? I mean, Suhan gets great guests.
He's got the guests.
Yeah, so he's going to do. Do we know what time that is? I might go over to that one.
I want to say it was 5 o'clock.
Oh,
I'll double check his tweet.
But right up against us. Come on, man. Come on, why do you got to do that to the poor Jeff Dubay show?
It's going to be tough with Wild Wednesday against him, too.
Oh, that's right. We're going to be right at the
Wild Wednesday. We're going to be on the other side of hot hockey team.
Hey, don't mock Wild Wednesday. I mean, sometimes.
When we started Wild Wednesday, I was so pumped about it. I was like, this is the greatest show ever. We got a great team this year. What a great time to start this.
I know. They go in the tank.
Sometimes
the team being horseshit brings fans out.
And it's still something to talk about.
Yeah, but so we'll be on the other side of town, so I won't be able to swing in. But again, these are podcasts, so they're not. What's really up against one another?
There is no competition in that way.
Podcast can be listened to any time, any place. Listen to it wherever you want, whenever you want. It's not really like it's got to be listened to at 5 o'clock Wednesday. As a matter of fact, who knows? I mean, we might even be changing our broadcast schedule around a little bit, our podcast schedule around a little bit to suit Mr. Big Shot McGovern.
Yeah, exactly, to accommodate me.
It
is 5 o'clock Wednesday.
I mentioned it to Bernard. I mentioned to Sean today at lunch, by the way, that you may have to change your schedule. You're hanging by a thread. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
But I will say this as a fan, I'm not affiliated with this network or I don't see anything with the network, but I just really enjoy it. I met this girl at this party the other day, and
nice.
I mentioned...
Give her my number?
Yeah. Dubay. No, I mentioned the Live and Social, and she was just going off about how it's just this cool thing where people in the community are just out there having
you're making
fun.
This up.
No, I swear to God.
She clearly got nowhere.
Yeah, the O'Gara's thing, she's been pimping that thing for 3 months here. Live band karaoke. How can you do better than that?
That is a great idea.
We're going down there with a group of people next Friday, and we're just going to have some fun.
What about this Friday?
Music.
What's wrong with this Friday?
This Friday is when it is. Because we were going to go last week, but
it was on New
Year's
Eve.
Yeah, my cab buddy's picking us up, bringing us out from the western suburbs. We're just going to go have some fun, listen to some music.
Very cool. That's the way to do it, too. Take that cab. Take that sober cab. Absolutely the way to do it. We got Suhan Unfiltered. You've got live band karaoke at O'Gara's on Friday night. I mean, your chance to stand in front and front, not in front of, and front a band.
Right.
I mean, you're not just singing
in front
with
of a crowd
music.
And in front of a band.
Of some skilled musicians, too. These guys know what they're doing. They're not.
And if you're a musician who wants to, let's say you play the drums, you want to sit in and play drums for a song, you can do that.
Yep,
it's really cool. The drummer will take 5, and you jump in and you bang the drums for 5 minutes, whatever. It's a pretty cool gig. On Wednesday nights, they got the music showcase at Shamrocks with Last Ride Band. Good guys. Tony's a great guy, fantastic guy, and everybody there always has a good time.
Rusty Gate and B
review. Now Rusty's doing a show. He's doing a new show too with people wwhose names I cannot remember.
Colleen Cruz.
Thank you very much.
But then isn't Kelly Guest involved?
Kelly Guest has a sex show.
Oh, that's okay. She's the Great Northern Sex Guest.
She is the Great Northern.
We'll have to all tune into that one.
Well, and she has a very sultry voice. She's well cast for it, and she's not a babe in the woods. She is somebody who is. Let me just, I don't know. I'm guessing. I mean this is a compliment. She's got a real seductiveness to her. She's got a real sexiness to her. She's got a real cougar quality to her. And she always has.
Well, she worked with Mishki too, I think, at one point. So I need to talk to her. I need to see what that was like. I mean, being a news gal for Tommy Mishki is one of the craziest jobs you can get in the Twin Cities.
I'm sure. Well, she was an update gal and a fill-in host at the Fan for years when I was there as well. And she's just somebody who could teach you a thing or two. Let's just put it that way. She can take your young ass around the bed for a few laps and teach you a thing or two. No, I'm just
kidding. Do we know that she's not married for 25 years?
Well, no, I'm not saying that she's cheap. I'm saying she just strikes you. She's like dripping with sexuality. She's just, and I mean that as a compliment. I mean this is a compliment.
Speaking of sexuality, aren't you guys bringing Julius
perfect.
Collins on board too?
Well, now you're scaring me a little bit. Yes,
Speaking
we are.
Of sexuality.
We are, but no, I'm not. I mean, I love Julius, but I mean, I'm not. When I think sexuality, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a well put together man.
I've never seen him. He's got those pipes though.
Well, he was a college wrestler. So he's
got the ears.
No, that's not what
I don't think he did have the ears actually.
No, because I don't think anybody ever got him down. I mean, I don't think he ever even would have needed the headgear because he is a big, strong, tough guy. I mean, he's physically intimidating, but he's also about the gentlest soul on the face of the earth, and one hell of a good man. But the fact that you find him sexual.
I didn't mean it like that. I was just segueing.
I'm sure he's a very sexual being. He's just not the type that, I don't look at him and say, that's a sexual being. That's Julius Collins. That's a sexual.
But you might now.
Yeah, I think you're going to change your tune.
Oh, God. That's been the weirdest. I wish we could go back to commercial break and just start the show. second half of the show over.
That throw you off a little?
Oh, God.
I got to keep you on your toes here.
Well, I've been in some dark places lately. That's just all there is to it. Oh, God. So anyway, keep me on my toes in terms of what? Oh, calling Julia sexy? A sexy
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Words are being put in my mouth here.
Well, hell, something is.
All right, let's...
Look at you going with the... I like that.
I told you, new year, I'm trying to bring up the production value.
I like it. Produce it up. That's rock solid. There were some NFL playoffs over the weekend. I didn't watch a lot of it just because Wild Card Weekend typically puts me to sleep. I mean, there are typically... I can always pick out at least one game, if not two, from Wild Card Weekend that are completely meaningless in that neither team has a prayer in hell of getting to the Super Bowl.
Well, whenever there's a losing record.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cincinnati... I'm not Cincinnati, but
Arizona,
Carolina. Carolina is the game that I had in mind. But it's Cincinnati, Indianapolis as well. I mean, so there were two games this week that you could have absolutely not paid a bit of attention to and not missed out on a damn thing because none of the four teams have a snowball's chance of going to the Super Bowl. Clearly not Arizona or Carolina. Now, at least Arizona has an excuse.
Yes.
When Arizona was healthy, when they had Carson Palmer, they were quietly probably one of the most complete teams in the NFL. They definitely were one of the most complete teams. They might have been
well coached too.
Bruce Arians is a fantastic coach. I'm glad you said that. He is. He's a guy that is quickly becoming. And you saw what he did with at Indy when Pagano had cancer, and then he steps right into Arizona and makes a perennial doormat, a contender. And really, they do it on both sides of the ball. A good offensive line, good receivers, good quarterback, and defense. But then Carson Palmer goes down. And by the way, I got so sick and tired over the last few weeks of all the Drew Stanton watch. Can Drew Stanton make it back? Can he get back? I mean, I get it. Lindley is a goddamn train wreck who couldn't quarterback his way out of the men's room here at the Devil's Advocate, let alone take a team down the field in a game that matters. But Drew Stanton can't either. Drew Stanton couldn't get out of his way at Michigan State. Drew Stanton's a mediocre college quarterback who was never going to take a team to the Super Bowl in the National Football League. So all the Arizona people are just NFL pretenders who thought they were that it mattered if Drew Stanton could make it back, if Drew Stanton could play. God, get a clue. It didn't. When Carson Palmer went out for the year, it was over.
Yeah.
From that point on, you could divest your emotional investment because it was over and they were not going anywhere. It was pure and simple that black and white, that cut and dried. And as far as Carolina is concerned, 7-8-1. And you know why they had a losing record instead of a winning record? Because they got done by the Minnesota fucking Vikings.
Yep.
I mean, they came here, and that was a game, by the way, that if I'm not mistaken, it was right around the time where we went. I mean, there was a stretch of games where we looked good early, and then they just shit the bed and gave games away. Like Detroit, is an example, and Miami is an example.
Yes.
It was right
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
It was right. It was in the middle of a stretch of games where that was not an uncommon occurrence for us. And if I remember that game correctly, and I do, the second half was us begging to be beaten. I mean, we were in control in the first half. Third quarter, Cam Newton puts together a scoring drive, and we can't get out of our own way. We're begging to be beaten in this game, and Carolina's just flat out not good enough to do it. And I tell you what, I cannot stand Cam Newton. I said there's not a thing about him I like. That's not true. His athletic ability, his arm strength. I mean, he's got every physical tool possible. What he doesn't have is character or leadership ability. He's a sleazebag. He's a cheater. He's a shortcut taker, and he's not a leader. And you can have him all day long. I want nothing to do with him on my team. Somebody asked me, would you rather have Cam Newton or Bridgewater? It's not even close. Bridgewater, 10 out of 10. And it's not because he's a more skilled quarterback.
I was going to say, Newton's probably got more talent.
Yep, but I mean, Cam Newton is a guy who, he went to Florida, saw that he's behind, Tebow. So went to a JUCO, spent a year at JUCO, and then was going to, transfer and have a couple years of eligibility. And when he blew up, he was a big-time recruit when he went to Florida. So no, he was absolutely not off anybody's radar when he went to JUCO. Everybody wanted him. I mean, his dad was whoring him out to SEC schools. Mm-hmm. I mean, he went to Mississippi State. He said $150,000. You want Cam? It's $150,000. And Cam, pleads ignorance. Oh, I didn't know my dad was doing that. Bullshit. Your dad is pimping you to schools. Know. You knew. Yeah, and not only did you knew, you're implicit. You're telling your dad what to do.
You're talking about the money.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are making a game plan together, okay?
Yep.
And there's a reason that Cam Newton's dad got banned from Auburn games. I mean, they wouldn't even let him in the stadium, okay? I mean, I don't know if it was an NCAA ban or an Auburn ban, but Auburn, by the way, the dirtiest athletic program probably in the history of the NCAA. And I know SMU got the death penalty, and I know the bad run they had, and some of the shit that's gone on in Miami. But year in, year out, decade in, decade out, I don't know if you can have two more dirty programs than Kentucky basketball and Auburn football. I mean, just disgusting, dirty programs. I know there's a lot of them out there, but Auburn is at the top of any list. It's funny that's the school that hires Bruce Pearl to be their basketball coach. All right, so that's fucked up enough. But when it comes to football, as dirty as it gets, they knew. I guarantee you, Cam Newton got something from him because he's not going to go there for nothing. When he could get $150,000 from Mississippi State, I mean, he was getting something from him. And the worst case scenario, the worst nightmare for the NCAA was that Auburn went on to win the title that year, and they don't want to vacate a title. I mean, I honestly think if they would have just had a decent year, they'd go after him, and they'd go hard after him. But I'm not sure they wanted another USC on their hands.
Exactly.
And also, the simple fact of the matter is, the NCAA doesn't investigate anybody. They're an ill-equipped investigative unit. What they do is they wait for somebody to either self-report a violation or for a school to get busted by the media.
They have very little incentive to self-investigate.
Yeah, very little. And you look back at the Clem Haskins fiasco here with Engelhoff. That was busted open by the St. Paul Pioneer Press. And I'm sure that my guess is when the Reggie Bush nonsense came to light in USC, I mean, again, major market media. I'm guessing the media uncovered this. But you get into sleazy little podunks like Tallahassee or Auburn or Tuscaloosa. You think the media's digging up there's no fucking chance. These people can do whatever they want. You think Aaron Hernandez didn't do anything wrong when he's at the University of Florida? Bullshit. I mean, the police, the Gainesville police, the Gainesville press, they don't want to bust Aaron Hernandez. They don't want to bust the University of Florida. They don't give a shit. They want prosperity. They want wins. They want fun. They want good times. So the NCAA catches people who either catch themselves in self-report, or they're in a big enough market where you have legitimate news media that's not afraid to kowtow to the fucking bigwigs at the university. And I'm sorry, but the people in Gainesville are, I'm sure, scared. They're scared to death of fucking reporting a legitimate story about Aaron Hernandez when he's in college. I guarantee Auburn, the rinky-dink little hillbilly reporters, they're in the fucking back pocket. Why can't I think of his name? Whatever. The Auburn head coach. They're just. There's nobody out there with the balls, unless you're in a major media market where the media is legitimate, where they're sincere, where they're honest. It might be a little sleazy at times in how far they dig, but nonetheless, they're not out to protect anybody, like in the Twin Cities or like in LA. And that's how these things come to light. Not because the NCAA is out there with a fine-tooth comb or magnifying glass and a Sherlock Holmes hat, digging for clues, because they don't give a fuck. You report yourself, then you self-investigate, then you hand the findings over to them, and they act like there's some authority. So I mean, so Cam Newton, I got a real bizarre tangent here on Cam Newton, but the bottom line is Cam Newton was dirty. The Auburn title was dirty. The Auburn title was bullshit. They called him Scam Newton for a reason. If I ever see anybody wearing an Auburn National Championship 2013, whatever the hell it was, 2012, I will fucking rip it off their back unless you are big enough to kick my ass. Then I will not. I will allow you to continue to wear your shirt. But it is a bullshit shirt, and it is a bullshit title from a bullshit human being who does nothing but lie and cheat for his own prosperity. That's who Cam Newton is. And when things go bad for Carolina, do you remember the crybaby bullshit he would pull at press conferences?
Yeah.
He'd just put his chin on his chest and act like somebody just kicked his goddamn dog. Be a leader. Be a man. Seriously. Be a man, Cam Newton.
But thank God Carolina isn't going to the Packers so they can get a free pass into the championship
Correct.
game.
True that.
Correct.
That would have been a joke.
And as much as I hated to cheer I was really in a moral conundrum yesterday watching the game. So I can't cheer for Dallas. I hate Dallas, and I think Tony Romo's just a pussy, and I've got no time to cheer for such a coward and such a pathetic loser.
He's had his best season, though, by the way.
Yeah, I know. He's red hot right now.
Yeah.
And I'll cheer for him. I'll be biting my tongue and cheering for him this week as well because he goes to Green Bay.
Yep.
But I don't believe in him. I mean, this is a man who dropped a hold of a chip shot field goal to lose a playoff game. I mean, he will do anything to choke when it matters most. But
it is funny. That's why he gets ripped on the most for dropping that snap, and he's a quarterback. He's not even a holder. People hate on him.
He was.
I've been rooting for Dallas. I like Dallas. Do
you really?
I do. I don't know. Dez Bryant. I don't know. I got some Dez Bryant love.
He's the worst.
That guy's awesome.
He's a horrible human being.
Catching things. I
had DeMarco Murray and Dez Bryant on my fantasy football team this year, and I still fucking hate Dallas.
Yeah, I know.
I'll tell you what. I like DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray is the one reason you might have Adrian Peterson back on the Vikings next year.
Yep,
if
that's
they
true.
If they had a void at running back, he'd be gone in a heartbeat. But they have no need for Adrian Peterson.
Although, didn't you bring up the stats about what their next season is after these many carries and stuff? I mean, DeMarco Murray is not going to have a very good season next year. I'll say that right now.
Okay. Well,
I've seen those numbers.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They usually fall off. Yeah. He's had more touches than anybody in the league.
You're right. I mean, he has. He's taking the ball.
But you're still right because that's not going to make Dallas go, let's go get Adrian Peterson and go.
That's a joke.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a quick break and come back and wrap it up.
Okay, last year, 2013, I lived just down the road, Pleasant Avenue, just a few blocks here from Uptown Pond, which is right on the corner of Lake and Pleasant. And, there are a couple of times, you just try to get to that next payday, maybe a couple of bucks short. If you've got some items, jewelry, diamonds, electronics, you come down here and they give you a fair price for it, and then you come back a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever, you get it back at a real reasonable price.
So we're very competitive, we hope, on different angles, in different ends and different articles. Computers, electronics, TVs, jewelry. We buy, we give loans, and we also have emphasis on diamond jewelry too, that we also try and give credit for the best we can. We're specialists in that area also, so it's an all-round sort of combination.
Well, it's a great place. It's a nice, clean place with honest people, and I tell you what, it's got a real family feel to it. As a matter of fact, it's tied into the Strauss family, and I go way back with the late, great Jerry. So, these are people I know and people I trust. You can find them on Twitter, too, by the way. They're at Uptown Pond, and also on Facebook, Uptown Pond, and uptownpond.net.
You can see my confusion. I don't know what the hell's got me so worked up. Maybe it's just another horseshit holiday. Maybe it's the fact that I just have lost all faith in humankind. I've just been a dick all day. I'm sorry. I don't know what my problem is. I fucking hate the world. I fucking hate everybody in it. That's my fucking problem.
Makes for a good podcast.
Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. We'll let the listeners be the judge of that. But I'm just not a happy person. In case you haven't picked up on that, I'm a dark individual. I'm even gonna give myself.
I think you need some self-help.
Yeah. Get some Facebook posts here.
Trust me, twice a day. I give myself all the self-help a guy can handle.
A lot of self-help.
Well, who am I kidding? I try twice a day. Well, anyway, back on point, if there ever was a point. Watching the Cowboys-Lions, I wanted Dallas to win just because I wanted Dallas to go to Green Bay rather than Carolina. I don't think either team would win at Green Bay, but I think Dallas at least has a snowball's chance. I think Romo will screw it all up and Green Bay moves on. But Carolina would have gone there and cowered, and Cam would have cried, and it would have been fucking disgusting.
It would have been 30-10.
Yeah. So I'm glad it turned out the way it did, is my point. But having said that, what a disgusting no call on the pass interference in the fourth quarter. How did they pick that flag up?
No, it wasn't a no call.
They picked up the flag.
They called it.
A pass interference like that picked up. I've never seen it.
He mauled him. That was the how-to video on pass interference.
Exactly.
They called it and then announced it and then changed it.
They moved the chains.
Yeah.
And we had it all set up.
That's bizarre. And even if he would not have done any of that, even if the flag would have never hit the ground, you'd have to say, how the fuck do you not call that?
Yes.
The guy, he did everything wrong. He never turned his back to look for the ball.
Which is not a penalty in and of itself.
Yeah, but he completely ran through the receiver.
Right, if you touch
he had his left hand, left arm holding an arm down, and then he ran right through him as if he wasn't even there without ever turning his head. It was the absolute... This is the instructional video on pass interference.
It was the Ben Lieber play from the 2009 championship game.
Oh, God, it was just, yeah.
It was maybe worse, though. Yeah.
I might have been. But just if I'm a Lions fan, I'm definitely pissed about it.
But do we buy into conspiracy theories here?
No.
Because I don't think there's a conspiracy.
No, I think referees are human and they make mistakes.
Yep.
And sometimes maybe they make mistakes not even based on their judgment of a call, but based on the situation. Intimidated by a crowd or an opposing head coach or somebody's been on you on the other sideline the whole game. I think that all these things come into play. I think that the human factor is enormous when it comes to officials in any sport.
Do you put any stock into the whole different crews going together
I think
it's
a tremendous mistake.
I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as they make.
I think it's a tremendous mistake, and I don't understand why they would do it. To be honest with you.
And I don't understand.
In baseball, how do they do it? Do they keep crews for the playoffs? I think they do.
I don't know because they've changed everything since they went AL NL.
See,
when I was a jock washer, you had AL umpires and NL umpires. Now you don't. Now they're all over.
Yep. Now it's just they go wherever.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how they. So they used to have to split it up for the World Series.
But I do think there is something to chemistry, and trust.
Yes.
Like you see the guy throw that flag. If he's on your crew all year, you don't even question it. You go, oh, that's a 15-yard penalty. Like there's no bullshit, and you bring in that factor unnecessarily for people to come and call that this was a conspiracy theory when it wasn't.
And it doesn't help that guy was partying with the Dallas Cowboys in the summer, rolling around in the bus. Now he's making these calls.
I tell you, it was a bizarre sequence. It was a bizarre set of circumstances.
But they scored 3 points in the second half. It's not that call why they lost that game.
What's the next play?
That punt, that 10-yard punt.
4th and 1 from the 40 or something of Dallas. Like, just go for it. Just fucking go for it.
They shanks the punt.
And then he kicks a 5-yard punter.
That was how bad is that 5-yard?
But how Detroit is that?
Yeah, it is. No, it really is. And I tell you what, though, how much of a beat, and I don't like him. Let me rephrase. I was going to say I don't like Dominican Sue as a person, but that's not true. He's not a bad guy at all. He's just a complete asshole on the field for some reason.
Somehow he actually seems like a really nice guy off the field.
He's just named the NFL's most charitable man. He gave. I don't know exactly what the standard is to win the award, but if he gave the most time, most money, if there's some formula between the two. Yeah. But I mean, he was named the NFL's most charitable man of the year, the National Football League. So he's out there doing things. I mean,
you can be an asshole and be very charitable, though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying you can't just say
you can
that
be surly.
makes him a good
person. You can be surly. I mean, I think people tend to judge people on the wrong. I mean, I know people who are the friendliest, most personable people in the world, but are just fucking despicable human beings. I mean, despicable human beings that would do shit that you couldn't even fucking imagine.
And then vice versa, right? Like pretty ornery kind of asshole people, but they're the most giving.
My friend Jason, who you've met numerous times, he is a surly prick.
Yeah, he can be a dick,
but
with
a heart of gold. I mean, he's a good guy. I need to give you the shirt off his back, but he just drive you nuts in the process. I mean, you make you fucking hate him while he's doing it.
Sure.
But I mean that's better than these people who are the Minnesota nice, insincere, come to you with the friendly face, and then are just despicable human beings. And I mean, there's so many of them out there. I think Dominican Sue might be the Jason Lindsay type, where he's a surly prick, but ultra competitive. But generally speaking, a pretty decent human being. But there's something about Dominican Sue on the field that it's just hard to wrap my mind around. That he can be that much of a. I don't know if he's just so revved up in the moment, so geeked for the game, that he doesn't know what he's doing when he's stomping on people's heads.
It almost looks like it. Like he loses his fucking mind for a minute.
He might. It might be this little temporary insanity that he's just so revved up.
Because they showed like a little collage or montage of his stuff, and what he did to Rodgers was nothing.
Oh yeah, that was
compared
very,
to the
very
stuff
low key.
he's done.
Very low key. Yeah.
But you're right. And then he comes off the field and he almost cries in the press conference and stuff. I mean, like the guy's obviously he's very emotional. I mean, that's obviously part of it.
I don't think he's a horrible human being, but there's something that there's a switch that gets flipped when he goes onto a football field that is a hard thing to explain.
Well, it's battle. There is something to it. It's fucking war out there.
And I've stood on the sideline for numerous games, and it's scary. I mean, I go upstairs shaking. I mean, you have people like if there's a play rumbling, you'll stand over on the sideline by the chain gang. And I mean, I did this for numerous games because I had the access because of my twins days, and they run a toss sweep towards you, and you've got this massive humanity. There's like a half dozen guys thundering. I mean, you feel the earth shake. You do. I mean, under your feet, you feel the earth shake. You see these people coming at you, and it is the scariest fucking feeling. Think that there are people who are voluntarily in the middle of it and throwing themselves into each other.
Right. They're running at each other at full speed.
I wish everybody could stand on the sideline once and have a toss sweep or a quick screen thrown right at you. It is the scariest fucking thing.
A herd of fucking some wild animal,
wildebeest. I could only do it for short stretches at a time. Then I'd have to go upstairs or maybe go stand back by the water bucket or something because it's just you got to unwind. You got
almost anxiety from it.
Yes, it's like you get like halfway through the haunted house at the State Fair and you want to get the fuck out. It's like, okay, I'm going to go upstairs now and I'm going to watch on TV.
Enough.
It really is intense, and I think that people play that game. I mean, I know that they put the parabolic mics down on the sideline and you hear all the big hits and you'd say, oh boy, you can almost feel that one. No.
Not until you actually feel it.
Stand right there. I mean, I can't stress this enough. Unless you stood right there and have this fucking toss sweep running.
Well, those 6'8", 250-pound guys and more coming at you.
People get mowed down on the sidelines.
Well, photographers, the coach that ripped his tendons a few years ago.
I mean, I'm telling you,
got blasted in the knee.
But Paterno. I mean, and he's an old man.
Yeah.
Or he was. God rest his soul. But the bottom line is, when this shit's running at you, it is scary as hell. And I mean, you do feel. It's not a cliche. It's not a saying. I mean, it literally. You feel the earth shake.
You feel those footsteps.
You feel it move. You feel the pounding. And I mean, you've got to. I mean, it got to the point where I was such a flincher, I couldn't stand down there without being an embarrassment to myself. Like if a quarterback's under center, he looks left, he looks right, the ball's even snapped. If he looks right, I'm taking 3 steps backwards. And people are just like, if you're going to be such a pussy, then go upstairs to the locker room. I mean, I'm telling you, it is so fucking intense.
From that experience, then try to fucking picture being Wes Welker or one of those guys that goes across the middle.
Idiots.
I mean, that's insane.
This idiot with the bad hair for Dallas.
The short guy, Beasley.
And his name, what a perfect name, Beasley. It's just
5'8".
It seems like a perfect name for this 5'8" nerd, Beasley. Let's get over to Beasley. I mean, get rid of the mullet, you fucking idiot.
No,
it's not 1980 and you don't play hockey. Get rid of the mullet.
Right.
But I mean, how do you dare get out there at 5'8"? And why does every single white guy who touches the football have to have curly hair coming out of the back of his helmet? Because there's one in Carolina too. He fucked up a punt on Saturday. He's like Beasley's twin.
Yeah. They all have to do the long hair. At least Robinson
Riley Cooper.
His,
Riley Cooper for if you're a white guy playing receiver, you've got to have this ridiculously effeminate blonde curly locks flowing out here.
Or a linebacker for the Packers.
What's wrong with you? Seriously? Yeah, that too. We all know about Clay Matthews. But anyway, I'm really praying for the closing bump here because I'm so tired. This show's been exhausting. And maybe I should apologize to humankind, to the human race, to humankind in general, for insulting every one of you. But I just can't because I fucking hate everyone. And I'm better than every fucking one. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean that, people. Please listen again tomorrow.
The entire human race can suck it.
It's just a joke. I love you all.